Good day, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be discussing One Piece chapter 1014 titled The Ham. So, what kind of ham? Ham as in ham to eat, or ham as in what Kanye means? Hard as a we'll see. Um, First things first, the cover page this week is a request. It is Law with a jersey that has the word Hunter on it, and there's a thing on the ground next to him saying capture the tiger on the screen. And the screen behind him has a picture of a tiger and the tiger coming out of the screen. So now we jump straight into the chapter. So we have a few things to go through. First things first, we see the aftermath again of Luffy getting licks or beaten. So we see him falling from the sky, and he does indeed fall into the ocean. But something to mention here is Kaido mentions that Luffy did indeed cover himself with Conqueror Saki, but he said his use of it was crude and clumsy. That's expected because he just learned it. And of course, Kaido says, Gomo Gomo, what was it again? And laughs it off. So, to Luffy's power, basically, is fruit. Then we get an interesting phrase. Kaido says, you couldn't be Joy Boy either, it seems. So this opens up a lot of questions. First of all, how does Kaido know about Joy Boy, or what does he know about him? Who or what is Joy Boy now? Because we get more references to it now. So yeah, we have a lot to answer. So I think we need a Kaido flashback ASAP. We then cut to, well, not cut to, it's the same panel, but basically Kaido telling Bao Huang to announce the results of this battle to all of Onigashima. And then we cut to Yamato, who's running through the castle trying to get up there, of course, to where Luffy was. And the guards notice that her shackles are off. And she's like, yes, I am no longer a prisoner, I am Oden, as usual. And she's running through the guards and beating them up. We then get another useful or interesting piece of information on this chapter, and it would be from Momo's point of view now. So we see Momo reading the journal, and he says to Shinobu, it would seem that I truly must not die. And when he says that, Shinobu asks him, of course you must not die, of course being he's supposed to be the next shogun. But this leads into something interesting, because what did he actually read in the book that made him come up with this idea or this thought? Now, after he tells Shinobu that he mustn't die, he begins to have what seems to be a headache, because we see lines coming out of his head, and he falls to the ground holding his head. And he's screaming, and he's like, what is that? Who is this? So, we know he had a similar fit before when he spoke to, or when he heard Zunisha for the first time in his head. So, the question now is Zunisha coming back, or is it something else? And just what is it? We then cut away again now, and we see Queen and Chopper fighting. Chopper basically pulls Queen by the neck and tosses him. And we see Chopper has some arrows in his back, as well as some of the other men who are on the ground or dead have arrows in them. And this leads us to the next panel, or the next page, where we see basically the Queen's former men cheering Chopper on, saying, it's good that Chopper is kind of beating him. But Chopper is wheezing, he's breathing heavily, and Queen is laughing and says that a guy who's winning shouldn't be breathing heavily like that. And he calls Chopper Tanuki again. Also, we see Sparrow making his candy arrows, and he also says, how long can you last? So we see he's firing off arrows as well. And this is where we get an interesting flashback to Caesar and Chopper. And this initially leads us to where Caesar and Chopper had a discussion back. I guess this was probably after Whole Cake or during some point in time. And basically, Caesar helped Chopper to perfect his rumble ball some more, so it went from just 3 minutes to 30 minutes. He can use it and be transformed. So that is one upgrade for him. Um, and it's interesting that Caesar actually helped him. So maybe later on again in the series it might get longer. Um, something to look out for. Queen then fires his hyper beam at Chopper and Chopper dodges, but we get the name of it and it's called Black Coffee Beam. Interesting. Of course, Sparrow is about to fire his arrows and everyone decides to try to take cover on the roof. And then we get Bao Huang using her Mary's now because she says Mary's diffusion mode. And essentially she scatters them out because remember the Marys can communicate, like because they're robots, they have like speakers in them. And she begins to give the message basically that Kaido sent out, which is announcement to all of Onigashima, the fight is over. The enemy with the highest bounty, Straw Hat Luffy, has been taken out, as well as the Kazuki Samurai um, have fallen. So essentially, she gives us the message, and we get the reactions of everyone from Straw Hats to that. So we see some people are asking are in shock. Luffy, they're like Luffy no. Chopper is one, and when Chopper says what Luffy no, Queen bites him on the shoulder. We see Marco, he's like Straw Hat. We see Frankie, or Frankie Sugar with its mouth open, like in shock. He's like, "Who are you kidding?" And someone says Master Kaido. Master Kaido snuffed out his life, so I'm guessing that's Sasaki. We see Jinbei tanking some kicks from Huzu. His reaction doesn't seem much thing, but we also get the reference that that Kaido told them that Luffy has sunk to the bottom of the cold sea. We then cut to a small little panel and we actually see Luffy sinking into the water with bubbles coming out of his mouth. We see some of the samurai like Hyogoro and one of the bosses said Kinemon too. Because of course they announced the Wano samurai has been destroyed or defeated. And Kaido turns into his dragon form again and he flies up and it looks like he's going to enter the hole that Big Mom created with Kid and Law when she was fighting them. Not Law, Kid and Killer. And he's like, look at the mess you've made, Linlin. And basically he enters through there. But they also relay the message on the Marys that anyone who surrenders could join Kaido's team. He will spare them. So, interesting. I wonder if anyone will. But we next see Law's reaction. He's in shock. We see Big Mom laughing while she's fighting Kid, and she's like, "You hear that?" And Kid is like I care what happens to that idiot. We see Tama crying. We see Usopp and Nami in shock. We see Frankie and Robin, and Robin looks a bit beaten up, but you know. And then we see Zoro and Sanji saying screw that. So basically we get the reaction of all the Straw Hats to Luffy losing, and everyone seems shocked or in disbelief. We then now get on the next page, we cut back to where Momo is. And we see basically Kanjiro is there again. And Shinobu notices one of the Marys. Um, of course, that means Luffy, the message about Luffy has reached them as well. So basically, Shinobu notices the frog notices the frog and it's like, oh, this is bad because now she knows they can find them. And we see that Kinemon and Kiku have arrived to Momo, and Kinemon is holding Momo because of his headache, because we still see the squiggly lines over his head, so indication that he has a headache. And Clan Jiro tries to do something sketchy here. He does the Odin thing again, where he disguises himself as Odin, it seems, and comes up and tries to fool them. And Shinobu is crying in shock. Momo is crying in happiness. Um, and Kiku is like, not again, and she charges at him. Um, and they tell Shinobu and Momo that this is an imposter, and Kinemon covers Momo's eye because, of course, Kiku is going to kill him. But this leads to something, but basically, Kiku charges at him, and she can't bring herself to kill Odin because Kanjuro uses in that basically you and your brother, I adopted you, you had no parents, all that, pretending to be Odin, and she can't bring herself to actually cut him down. So this leads to Odin, or Kanjuro disguised as Odin, stabbing her through the stomach, and well, you know what that means. She falls to the ground, and she's like, basically, she admits that she can't bring herself to kill Odin. Um, Even though it's a disguise, she can't bring herself to do that. So she falls to the ground, and Kanjuro is there. Um, he removes the. That's why I said he was disguised as him, because usually his drawings come to life, but it seems he pulls the mask off. So it seems he disguised himself as Odin this time. Not just a drawing, but him himself. Him himself. Anyway, yeah. So we get Momo doing the what face now, and he realizes it's Kanjuro. Kiku falls to the ground, Kinemon catch her, and they have a little moment basically, and Kiku says that basically the falling snow is melting, so that means surely the dawn should be coming soon. More reference to winning the battle. Um, and my thoughts on Kiku dying is I if okay, if it is a fake out, that'll be very bad because we've had a lot of fake outs with deaths in One Piece from Pound to a few others. And genuinely, if you're going to tease deaths and have people die to make it meaningful, let the deaths stick, in my opinion, because Oda doesn't kill much. But I think we should have some deaths. It's a war after all, so it should be meaningful. Let's not have a repeat of the war in Naruto where like only two main people died and that was it. The rest were side characters. No, if we're doing a war, let's have casualties. Um, so hopefully, maybe this would be an actual death. Um, that being said, we then get Kinemon cutting down Kanjuro, and basically Kanjuro is laughing and he's saying, there was not a person to do this but you because after all, on stage, um, we were best friends on stage, and that basically is a response then, or more of a callback to when the group was fully together before Kanjuro came out as a traitor. And he falls to the ground, and it seems like that's it for Kanjuro. Again, we thought that early on in the and it didn't turn out to be true, but we'll see. And then this is where things may get interesting because we see Kaido appear. Momo is crying still, and Kaido appears. Kinemon tells Shinobu to take Momo and run away. And we see Momo crying, and Kaido lifts his Kanambo, and we see the energy radiating off of it. So I'm assuming this is Conqueror's Haki on it. And he slams it down on Kaido. And Kaido slams it down on Kinemon's head. And we see Kinemon has his two swords up like this to block, and one shatters, one breaks in half. And we hear Momo cry out for Kinemon. And then we get a small panel at the end that says Onigashima reaches Wano's mainland. And of course, no break next week, so that's good. So, this was a long chapter. Well, not long, but a packed chapter with things. I'm hoping and really hoping that the deaths stick. And it's not just, like just a shock value and then they're alive. Um, I don't think Kinemon is dead. I think if Kinemon is going to die, we are going to maybe get a full chapter dedicated to that. Um, because of his character, we've been with them since Punk Hazard. So I think if he was to die, we'd get a full chapter on that. Um, but yeah, who is Joy Boy or what is Joy Boy? Because Kaido mentions it and says Luffy cannot be Joy Boy. So what does that mean? Um, so yeah, a lot going on here. We need a flashback on Kaido to know how he knows so much about some of these things as well. Of course, will Kaido be the new king of the pirates? How is Luffy going to survive falling into the water? Who is going to save him? I don't think a devil fruit user would be able to go under to get him, of course. So who or what? Maybe Minx? We'll see. Um, what did Momo hear speaking to him in his head? Maybe fishmen, maybe sea kings. We don't know. So a lot of questions then. But hopefully next chapter we get some answers. Let me know your opinions and thoughts on this chapter down below, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.